The following video is brought to you by the guys at the Wrecking and Racing Podcast, a NASCAR podcast made by the fans for the fans. Check them out at www.wreckingandracing.com, facebook.com/wreckingandracing, and Twitter @wreckingandracing. Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. Saka here, and welcome back to NASCAR Racing 2003 season, the 2019 mod. And we are at the pesky paperclip of Martinsville. Figure if Pocono can be the tricky triangle, then Martinsville can be the pesky paperclip. But a half mile, 50 laps, 3X tire and fuel consumption. We're on the outside row behind Ryan Newman. Green flag is out. And let's see if we can get to the bottom sooner rather than later. The bottom is definitely the better way to go around this track. And it's going to be a long 50 laps, but we do not need to pit for fuel. Tires, on the other hand, may be a thing if yellow flags were to fall and we need some fresh rubber on the car. We've got Brandon back there in the 27 Wrecking and Racing Podcast Toyota. It gets a little loose right there. We're able to get to the bottom, and he's right on our back bumper. It's just going to be a matter of getting through this traffic. I feel we're pretty fast in race trim. We didn't get a good qualifying setup, but we're making a good move, dive bombing to the inside. Brandon follows us. Save the car. The 43 goes around. I don't know if there's going to be a yellow. It has not came out yet. So we packed it in there. Bubba Wallace got spun, and everyone sort of gathered it up and kept on going. So NASCAR, good on you for keeping the green flag out if Bubba is not injured or, negatively affected in any way. Whoa, Menard right there on our back bumper, really loose, but we bogged up the bottom. That allowed Brandon to get to the inside of the 21. And let's try not to clip the curb next time, shall we? There's no pressure out of the back. We just need to drive up forward and keep all four tires on the pavement. But already a few little spins here. So if the yellow flag were to come out, we probably would pit for tires, but if the green flag stays out and this is a long run, we'll stay out, of course, as long as we possibly can. We'll clear the 88 of Alex Bowman, and now that things are starting to get single filed out, we can pick and choose our battles a little bit more carefully. Brandon's following us through there. We're opening the door for him. He'll follow us through under the 41 of Daniel Suarez, and right on the 9 of Chase Elliott. So the bottom is working for us really well. It's just when the car's on the outside like that, you can't get the power down completely. So we'll need to get clear. Hopefully by the end of turn 4, Suarez fights back, but we'll clear in here. We'll get out to the wall and drive off as straight as possible. And you can see how much ground we pick up on the cars that we pass. It's just a matter of getting by them. Joey Logano out front. He qualified on the pole. And we've got Kurt Busch and Eric Almirola, followed by William Byron, Jimmy Johnson, Ryan Blaney, and Kyle Larson. Trying to make the pass on Chase Elliott here. Will complete it. He'll fight back high on the outside. That 41 just chopped Brandon's nose off pretty bad, going from the high lane to the low lane. He's sort of got a rolling roadblock back there. No pressure really from behind with those two running side by side like that. Since we're single file, we should be able to clip off better laps than those cars behind us. And indeed, they won't be on our back bumper. It's very tenuous going into turns 1 and 3. The AI like to brake really, really hard. And I guess their braking force is something to be amazed, because they will just drive through the back of you. Good run off the corner here. We'll set up Larson as we can. We'll settle in here, though. We've got a lot of time to go, and I don't think this thing will stay green the whole time. Martinsville typically has some spins and some flying 360s. Not really a lot of damage unless the entire track can get blocked up, and then all of a sudden you've got a parking lot. But usually it's getting spun going into the corners, and then you just lay on the gas, spin the car back around, and no worse for the wear, much like Bubba Wallace did earlier. Jimmy Johnson going for that pass on the 24. Hendrick teammates battling it out there, and we're keeping pace. We're within shouting distance. Let's go to 42. We kind of get into the 42 just a little bit, but we're not going to turn him. We'll give him the spot back. That was kind of dirty. We'll see if we can get under him a little bit cleaner here going into turn 3. He gives us the lane, but we're not going to be able to put down the power. You see Larson gets on the gas, and around us he goes. Brandon got by the 41 of Suarez, and now that we're battling Larson, Brandon should be able to close up that gap fairly quickly. We got good power off the bottom, though. The straighter we can launch, the quicker we can get down the straightaway, so we need to come off these turns as straight as possible, get to the gas early, and keep that 42 on the outside. He drives it in hard there, but I think we'll complete the pass here on the exit of 2. And indeed we shall. We'll get out to the wall, carry that speed, and see if we can leave Larson behind. The 12 of Ryan Blaney is next up on the docket. Blaney hasn't had a strong year in this season, so it's good to see him up front and running well. He's kind of got the Brad Keselowski syndrome as well. Brad had a good run last week, but we don't see Brad up here this week. So some the normal players of Almirola and Johnson are usually up here, but it almost seems, ouch, it almost seems sort of random as far as who gets up here. We're still tweaking the ratings just a bit to fine-tune the guys that should be up here on a weekly basis, and we've almost got it. A few more weeks, and then we'll get a good litmus test of what the rest of the year is going to be. So Brandon hasn't caught back up to Larson. I think he may be saving his tires. It definitely has a feel of a green flag type race. And the one Martinsville race that I actually attended in person, they ran like 350 of the 500 laps under green. So green flag runs are possible here. Everyone just has to cut each other a break. But the 48 is not cutting his teammate a break. He's looking to the inside. Where that's going to bottleneck us up is if Johnson gets under the 24 by the time we get to Johnson. We'll be able to pounce, but we won't be able to get around. So we'll get right here on the back bumper of Johnson, see if we can get a good launch off the turn and set him up into turn 1. That's going to be the goal. Good launch here. Go for the pass and get right behind that 24. So Blaney, Larson, and Brandon back there. Brandon is on the back bumper of the 42. We've completed the pass on Johnson. Setting sail on the 24, and there's Johnson. You can see right there how close they get to the rear bumper on corner entry. We need to put Johnson a little bit behind us here if we don't want that pressure from behind, but William Byron is kind of slowing us down. Johnson didn't get to our bumper as close as he did last time. We'll be able to go around Byron and see the 10 of Almirola, who's the one driver this year that has won a race besides me and Brandon. This is race 6 of the year. And Johnson will make the pass on the 24. Brandon may be able to follow him through. I don't see him back there, though. He might not be close enough to capitalize, but with those guys running side by side like that, Brandon gets around the 12. Or will get around the 12 this time. So let's get around the 10 and try to keep a car between us and Brandon. We drove it in really hard, washed up just a bit, and I think Eric getting out of the groove slowed him up on corner exits, so we'll pass Almirola. And Kurt Busch having a strong year here, and Joey Logano as well. Those guys are definitely doing well in the points championship overall. And this race is ticking by fairly quickly. Laps are just ticking off, and now we see the dreaded lap cars in our windshield. Kurt goes to look for the pass. I don't think Kurt's going to be on the bottom, but he may be able to get to Logano's inside this time, but he stays in line. If he dilly-dallies much longer, we're going to get around the 1. Yeah, he's trying to pass Logano. He looked to the inside. We're going to take the outside. Really run hard. We wash up. We lock up the brakes just a skosh, trying not to hit Logano. But no worse for the wear. We'll do the crossover under Kurt. He's definitely slow. I don't know if the AI is rolling back to save their tires or not, but we were really strong there. We should be able to get Logano no problem here coming up. And Kurt gives us some room. Oh, there he goes. He gives us a tap. I say he gives us room, and then he gives us a little shot in the corner. Let's see if we can set up Logano here, roll the bottom really well, get on the gas early. See if we can get the shot. Logano got out just a little bit. I don't know if we're going to be within range. We'll look. Yeah, brakes are working really well. We get to the inside of Logano. We should be able to put the power down here. So at the halfway mark, we take the lead. Not bad. And Kurt will even get to the inside of Logano. We actually helped out Kurt Busch a bit. And now we set sights on the front to see exactly where these lap cars are going to come. Hopefully they stay single file. We don't want the lap cars to be racing each other when we get to their back bumper. There's no blue and yellow cross flag to basically tell them to move over, so they're going to race as if we're not even there, which could be bad for us indeed. Could be good for us if we get through traffic better than the cars behind us, though. We are putting a gap on Logano. And yeah, we can drive it nice and easy here. We're definitely not pressing the car and pulling away. In the lead and pulling away is one of the best feelings in racing for sure. When you completed that pass and you look in your mirror and he's getting smaller, and you scale back to save the car and they're still getting smaller, that's a good feeling. Good feeling indeed. So hopefully Brad figures his life out. He's on the inside of a lap car there. Brandon looking to the inside. He kind of moves Logano out of the way there. So Brandon will get to the inside of Logano. He may complete the pass going into turn one. It just depends on how aggressive Logano is. Logano isn't going to give up the spot lightly, though, it looks like. We're still catching these cars in front of us really well, especially with those cars running too wide. Brandon does complete the pass there off of turn 4. So put Brandon in second. We're in first and hunting down the 33 of Jeffrey Earnhardt. And Brandon actually gapped Logano a good bit as well. So the AI may be dialing back to save their tires. That is the question. We're definitely leaving them in the dust and not really pushing the car. I mean, our water temperature is still like at 140. We're not even, I mean, our oil should be hot. No, oil temp is like really low too. We could have afforded a lot more tape, which would have helped our forward bite for sure, helped our drive off, but yeah, it doesn't look like we need it. We're still feeling pretty solid. It's just a question of how these lap cars treat us. So we should get a launch here, maybe under the 33 in turn 3. Now well, he's kind of giving us a lane. We'll get him in turn 1, though, if we can get a straight shot. All right, let's get around the 33 and complete the pass going into turn 1. That's solid. Kind of washed up a little bit. We drove in hard just to make sure we could keep the pass. Under the 97 here. We'll start getting these guys one at a time, and Brandon should be able to follow us through. If we can get through these guys better than Logano can, it'll be a 2-car race. And to be honest, I barely see Logano back there at all. It'll be maybe 4 or 5 laps before Logano even catches the back of the field. Let's get under the 38. And yeah, there's Brad Keselowski just a few cars out of last, and Martin Truex Jr. even is back here. That's uncharacteristic. I thought Martin had a better starting spot. He was kind of right in front of us, but he may have gotten shuffled out with that whole Bubba Wallace incident. Not for sure. I mean, even Kyle Busch is back here, so I don't know. I honestly don't know what's up with these guys. They should be having a better run than they are, but I'm not going to argue. Oh, Brad gives us a shot. Look, you're running next to last. Why are you fighting so hard? There's no lucky dog here. All right, around the 19, Daniel Hemrick in front of us, and then Kyle Busch. Couple cars in front of us there going side by side. That'll help us catch these guys quicker. But yeah, very uncharacteristic of Kyle. I'm pretty sure if Kyle Busch was actually in that car, he would be screaming his, well, he would definitely be screaming now. Kyle wouldn't get out of the way. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Kyle would turn us right there. So we kind of overdrove just a little bit, got the curb. Kyle Busch is not cutting us any slack, that's for sure. Yeah, I imagine the real Kyle might show us what for. Let's get away from him as soon as possible. Yeah, he cuts off Brandon too. Kyle's kind of a wrecking ball out there, but Brandon gets by him. We'll see if we can get around the 95, maybe even under the 13 of Ty Dillon here, and there's the 43. So even after that sort of slide and spin, Bubba's doing okay. His car is intact. He's still clicking laps, so I don't believe any DNFs this race. Yeah, Bubba keeps his pin down way to the bottom. Let's see if we can get around him here. And then Brandon looks like he's mired back in traffic. That 95 is trying to pass the 13. This is our chance to gap him a little bit, since these cars in front of us are going single file. Yeah, really driving hard. It looks like if we can get around Ricky Stenhouse there, we've got an opening. At least an area where we can run our laps. Yeah, 00 Landon Castle here. Yeah, and then Brandon lost a lot of ground there fighting with those lap cars. So we just need to keep all 4 tires pointed in the correct direction, and I think we'll be solid. Right on the bumper of Hamlin, we should be able to complete the pass, get the power down well, maybe even get him in turn 3 here. Yeah, Stenhouse looks like he's got like a little bit of left side damage. Either that or that's his paint scheme. Kind of deceptive, but it looked like just in front of the number was caved in. Yeah, looks are deceiving. I don't think he's gotten into anyone, which is a surprise for Ricky. But we'll keep that, and we'll be good. All right, so let's settle in, run some laps, get away from these guys here, and look for that white flag. Looks like Harvick may be the next car in front of us there. So Harvick is having a strong season as well. Not typical Kevin Harvick, though. We're sort of filling that role, myself and Brandon. We're sort of like the Harvick-Kyle Busch of last year, it feels like. Still tweaking on the AI as well. So if we get races where we're just leaving them in the dust, we'll turn up the percentage even more. This is at 94% strength. So next week at Texas may be a 95% race. That way we're sure that we're always, we got some competition. Yeah, settling in well. We're leaving Stenhouse behind and catching Harvick. Don't hit the wall. Yeah, tires are starting to give up. We can definitely feel the effects of low tire wear for sure. I'm sure the right front is yellow by now. I'm trying not to slide the right front tire under braking. That would put a lot of wear on the tire for sure, and then, high temperatures as well. We want to give these tires a chance to cool off. It's not like the old days where the brakes at Martinsville would stay red the entire way around and really melt the inner bead of a tire. Braking technology has gotten a lot better since then, but white flag is in the air. I don't believe we're going to catch Harvick, and looking in the mirror, I think Brandon has just now passed Stenhouse, so we were able to really dial it back, maintain our pace, and unless something bad happens here, I think we've got it. Yeah, we'll run turn 3 and 4. Brandon tried to drive it in there, but checkered flag for us. At Martinsville, we will tie Joey Logano with the most laps led at 25 apiece. So only 2 leaders this race, but Brandon with a second, so definitely not bad. An enjoyable Martinsville race for sure. Martinsville is one of my favorite tracks, so another grandfather clock in our repertoire. And then we can put some donuts on the Martinsville pavement here. Nice. Can't see a thing. Well, okay. Well, we were crashed by Kurt Busch. I guess Kurt was none too happy with that win. Let's take a look at that first little shove from Bubba Wallace, though, with Bubba being bumped. I'm not sure exactly. Here we go. So let's go to the 43 here. Yeah, Brandon locks his left front tires up. We go in, Brandon locks it up just a skosh. No, that was us sliding out of the way. Yeah, we were... Oh, so Brandon got into us. I didn't even know that. So Brandon got into us. We were driving hard. Then the 43 goes up, the 19 goes up, and then no worse for the wear. So Brad got choked up on the bottom. And then the rest of the race just sort of ran its course. But let's take a look at the standings after Martinsville. That is my second win this year. Denny Hamlin is your cutoff driver, only 4 points back to 20th, and Ryan Newman 4 points ahead to Alex Bowman, but Kevin Harvick 10 points ahead in 14th. So we're starting to see a little bit of a gap. Michael McDowell and Austin Dillon with 11 ahead, but Jones, Byron, and especially Chase Elliott is starting to really gap 16th and sort of solidifying their place in the playoffs. You know, it's only race 6, and there's still 20 races to go, so a lot can happen. But that's going to do it for me. Like, share, and subscribe if you are so bold. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next week for the very fast 1.5 miles at Texas. Take care.